Hello, you are watching Western Reserve News. I'm your host, Bruce Rogers, and we invite you to sit back and watch the highlights of meetings that we are doing this week. This is the week of November 16th, 2015. On Monday, Western Reserve News was at the Lordstown Village Council meeting. And on Monday, Western Reserve News was at the Berlin Township special meeting. At the Berlin Township meeting, trustees considered putting the road levy on the March 2016 election.
Okay, so the process for this, I'm assuming we don't have to go back to the prosecutor's office to do any of this?
No.
And we don't need to go through the auditor because the amount is still going to be certified as exactly the same to generate approximately
But we do.
$82,916. We have, so this resolution is to get that confirmation for that. Okay.
And the fact that we need the levy.
Okay, so it actually certifies that we're declaring necessity outside the 10 mil limitation and to confirm the amount that it would be generating based on the tax base.
Right.
Correct? Okay.
From the county auditor.
From the county auditor. Okay, so do you guys have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
And I will, when I send this in, tell her, please, we need this like yesterday.
Okay.
Because we're filing it for the March primary, which has to be done in December, so they don't push it aside.
Okay, so once they get that done, then what's probably going to happen is we're probably going to need a second special meeting to get that taken care of if we don't get it back in time for our December 7th meeting, or we should do it anyway and have it back. So we're ready to have everything ready to go.
Well, December 7th is a Monday, right?
Right.
As long as we could do it at that meeting.
A week from that Wednesday to have everything ready to go to the Board of Elections.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'd be okay.
Okay. Okay, so that's what we're looking at doing then.
As long as they get it back to us by then.
What's that?
He made a motion, I seconded it.
And I voted yes.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Berlin Township officials also considered a possibility of getting real estate from Western Reserve local schools.
First of all, the school said they were looking at just interest. They weren't looking at clear-cut, yes, no, whatever, let's go through with this by any given time. So there's technically no deadline. It was just to feel us out to see if we're even interested so they would know if they needed to do anything. So at this point, should we just start with the title search for around a couple $100 and see where that leads us? And then once we get the results of that back, then decide if maybe when we want to go further, have it surveyed, if we're looking at going farther with this, or...
So we're looking for a dollar figure for the search, like up to $250, $300? Is that what?
Yeah, they said it would be around $200.
Okay.
So around...
So are we looking for a motion for $200 for title search, or just a motion to do a title search?
It'd be basic. If it was going to be any more than that, I think she would have said.
Okay.
Just to do the search.
Right.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
So we're not saying right now that
Correct.
we're going through with this.
Correct.
Okay, we don't...
We're interested.
We're interested and we're
Okay.
doing our due diligence.
exactly.
Okay.
At the November 16, 2015 Lordstown Village Council meeting, Mayor Hill gives his report.
I'd like to give a thanks to Myers Equipment. We had a transmission cooler go out in our ambulance, and our ambulance was out of service for about 6 days. Myers Equipment had an ambulance which they lent us, and it's no charge. So, that doesn't happen that often, so I think that's, got to give a shout out to Myers Equipment down in Canfield. Also on Veterans Day, if you saw Saturday's paper, the Lordstown Band got an orchid for being in the parade, and my wife and I were there, and I saw quite a few Lordstown residents there, and they did a pretty nice job. So, third, after the first of the year, big topic this year has been senior housing. And that's something which has been going around here for quite a while. And, you know, there's a lot of questions which, and I, you know, have a get-together. I'll put it in the newsletter. You know, right up the street from me in Newton Township, there's senior housing, but I think that's income-based. I really don't think we want income-based, because most of the people here who would be wanting to move in already have their own home. And if you get income-based, just about anybody who has a General Motors pension does not qualify to get into that sort of housing. So I don't think we'd want that.
The other thing, Arno, is if they have a home that they need to sell, the income from that home counts as income for a certain number of years too.
Yes,
And
it
so
does.
that puts them way up there when they
That's
have
it.
to pay that.
That's it. So,
I'm
you know,
sorry, I interrupted you in your report.
that's okay. But there are a lot of variables, but you know, this is one thing which a lot of people do not want to have to leave Lordstown, but a lot of people can't keep their houses up. Now, you know, if you talk about senior housing, do you rent or do you buy? Do you income-based, or I think basically if we got income-based, we don't want that. That's just my opinion. How big? You know, the bigger it is, the more it's going to cost you. One thing, you know, talking to some of the senior citizens in the past, you know, when they bought their houses, it was $30,000, and their payment was $200 or $300 a month. Well, now if you tell somebody they might have to pay $600-700 a month for rent, they kind of gasp or gulp. Of course, then they're getting a little bit more than $30,000 out of their house too. So I guess inflation, if you take a look at it, you know, there's a lot of variables. But a couple of the realtors who've been dealing in town, you know, have been kind of looking, because they saw during the campaign season that senior housing was a hot topic. Do you want independent living? Do you want independent where then all of a sudden somebody comes in, and that way if something happens you can roll over into assisted living? Or do you want to go independent to assisted and then go into like a nursing facility? So, you know, there are a lot of variables. You know, somewhere out there I think there's something which would fit us in Lordstown for senior housing, but that's one thing, you know, which after the first of the year I'll get together, invite all the council, and maybe we can get one of the rooms up there at the school, and we can sit and have a little roundtable discussion on that. And the last thing, I know there's been some talk about the senior van. I'm talking with Mr. Shealy. I know he said that the committee's decided that they would like to go with, I believe it's Trumbull Transit. We had a gentleman come make a proposal, but I think the majority of council would also like to look at replacing our van. I know a couple people have gone down, looked. Coincidentally enough, Myers Equipment does have a van, but there will be money in the budget next year if council decides to take a look at a van. I know they have one down there now, which a couple of councilmen went and looked at. There is money available right now if council would so desire to get a van, because they have $100,000 in council's capital improvement, which is council's discretion to however they want to use that fund. And that's it for the mayor's report.
And Lordstown's water is safe to drink, but they will be cleaning out the tank.
Bruce Platt, 1952 Salt Springs Road. I'm the utility superintendent. Just happy to report we've got our disinfectant byproducts testing results in. We sampled the first Wednesday of November, and I'll read the numbers that we received. Keeping in mind a running average of 80 or above, we're in violation, which we were in violation beginning August, for the August, September and October quarter. These results are at our sampling station on Wood Leonard. We received 54.4 And over on Yerke Young, we received a 59.9, which that brings us under the maximum contaminant level average of 80. So we're not in violation. That's the only thing we can say is we're not in violation at this time. So I'm sleeping much better, you know. So the second thing that I have is we've scheduled an interior tank cleaning for the Bailey Road water tank. That's scheduled to begin on Friday, the 20th. The water department will begin preparing that tank for the internal cleaning beginning on Wednesday. So we'll issue a code red announcement through our call system, along with we're going to put a notice in the paper. It won't be necessary to boil the water. It'll only affect the homes that are on the south side of the turnpike, meaning Pritchard Old Town, Halleck Young, portion of Lintz, Ellsworth Bailey, Imperial Mobile Homes. So it'll only affect that portion of the community. If you know somebody over there, give them a heads up that they'll notice a drop in their water pressure, and they'll probably notice it during times of greater usage. Mornings and evenings, they'll notice like, geez, and that's because the tank is out of service, you know. That'll continue through Wednesday of next week. We'll have a back-end service. Yes, that's the day before Thanksgiving, so my fingers are crossed, you know. So hopefully it'll be back in service at that time. So, and appreciate everybody understanding. If you live over there, make your neighbors aware. And like I say, we'll be having a call out and again a notice in the Tribune. You know, hopefully that'll get published. So, have any questions?
Any questions for Bruce?
Mayor Hill points out the benefits of Trumbull Transit versus a Lordstown senior bus.
I know they're talking about going with Trumbull Transit. Now that's 6 to 6. That has a place. If somebody needs a trip to go from here to Mesopotamia or here to Kinsman or here to Hubbard, if we join their consortium, that's only $2 each way. If somebody has to go, and you can call up ahead of time. That has a place. You can't go anywhere for like $2 in Trumbull County for $2 each way. But they're done at 6 o'clock. I know, I believe the ones who would like to see the bus on council, they're talking about the concerts, even the concerts we have down here in the park or something like that. So, you know, I believe that's why council is looking at next year purchasing a bus. But
another thing I'd just like to add, and I'm just throwing this out there for general information, is all this is when I came back from being down there, Travis Eastman saw me. And I told Travis, the reason I talked to Travis was I told him I thanked the gentleman about the ambulance, and he thanked me for saying that, and he says if you are considering a bus down there, he says they are also considering a new ambulance, and he said maybe you could partner together and get a better deal by buying both, because he said he's in the process of looking into an ambulance down there.